Okay. Good evening to one and all. Welcome you to the daily current affairs session brought to you by Ganesh IAS Academy for the date 3rd July 2023. For the news appeared in Indian Express newspaper. Okay, let's get straight into the news which appeared today. The first important news is not news, it is an article which came in Indian Express newspaper is welcome turnaround. That is, banks have seen the reduction in their gross non-performing assets, uh, which is fallen to a 10 years low. This is because of the some cumulative effort of the government of India, and also there has been some improvement in the corporate sector balance sheet. So, see, RBI financial, according to the RBI financial stability report, it is said that banks have reduced their, as I said, gross non-performing asset to 10 years low of 3.9. There has been a steady improvement in key financial parameters of the corporate sector. That is, their balance sheet have been improved. But there has been some concern regard to the retail loan category. Even though their NPAs are low, their special mention account that is அது என்னன்றதை we will see in the upcoming slides, is very high, particularly in the retail loan category. For public sector banks, they are even high. For public sector banks, the retail loan category in both secured as well as unsecured loan categories is even more high when compared to the other private sector banks. So this is what the content of the news which came today related to the news which we have seen in the previous slide. So let's get one step deeper into the what are all the conceptual part that is involved in the news, so that you could able to have some holistic understanding about the news. What is twin balance sheet means? Twin balance sheet is nothing but a problem where it refers to deterioration in both financial health of the bank and also the corporate balance sheet. Both will occur at the same time. In this scenario is called twin balance sheet problem. This twin balance sheet problem will cause heavy toll on the economic as a whole of the country in which the problem is taking place. It will lead to withdrawal of foreign portfolio investment as well as foreign direct investment, and also it will also lead to slowdown of the economy as the whole, as a result of which there will be less production, less export, and less foreign exchange earnings. And also at the same time it will also leads to a high import and high outgo of forex reserve. This will lead to capital account deficit. This will lead to current account deficit, as a result of which it may, in severe event, it may even lead to balance of payment crisis. So this is the potential this is the potential harm that the twin balance sheet problems may cause to an economy. So what does gross non-performing asset and net non-performing asset means? Gross non-performing asset is the absolute amount that it doesn't subtracts the provision that the banks made for any bad loans, which has become a non-performing asset is called gross non-performing asset. And if a bank subtracts the provisioning made by the bank to the particular loan, means that the remaining outstanding amount of the loan is called as net non-performing asset. This is what the difference between them. The difference between them is, for example, if a particular bank is giving a loan amount of, say for A is the bank giving a loan of rupees 100 to B. This is called gross if after a certain period of time, if B is not repaying the interest as well as principal amount to the A, means that 100 rupees will be considered as non-performing asset. But after some due consideration, A will be providing, since the 100 rupees has become non-performing asset, A will borrow from somewhere or make provisions for the lost 100 rupees. For example, if they are couldn't able to get back the money from B, means they will so A also wants that 100 rupees so that they could able to invest in another or various other sectors. No, so they will be borrowing from other sector, borrowing from other banks, or they will be borrowing from RBI, or they would be borrowing from the customer itself, so that out of these 100 rupees they will uh, subtract certain percentage. For example, if they 30 percentage means 30 rupees will be taken away from the loan which is given to the B, so that B should able so that B should repay only the 70 rupees. This 70 rupees is called as net non-performing asset. This 30%, how this provisioning amount will be arrived is based on the sickness, the amount of sickness of the bank, and the ability amount of the sickness that the borrower has borrowing industry has undergone, and second is the provisioning strength of the bank. These two criteria will determine the provisioning of the loan of the bank on the particular loan. So there are some different types of non-performing assets. What is that? We'll look into one by one. Okay, the first non-performing asset is first type of non-performing asset is substandard asset. That is, if whenever as we all know, an asset becomes non-performing asset if the amount, that is that principal or the interest is not paid for 90 days, that the party, and then this asset will be becoming non-performing asset. And what does substandard asset means? If an asset becomes, after becoming NPA, it remains in NPA for less than or equal to 12 months, means it is called as substandard asset. Then if the substandard asset remains as substandard asset for period of another 12 months, means it is called as doubtful asset. Similarly, when the asset is, after an asset is made as doubtful asset and it remains so as doubtful asset for the period of 12 months, means it is again called as lost asset. There and bank will come to a conclusion that there is no benefit in having this asset, that is credit asset, in the balance sheet. So they will either write off, they will take the assets from the balance sheet, and also sometimes they would be write off the loan. But the effort to collect the loan from the borrowers will be going on simultaneously, even though the asset has been removed from the balance sheet or the asset has been written off. So these are all the types of non-performing assets. So what does the special mention account, which we have seen in the content of the news, which in the previous slide, means? Special mention account are those accounts that shows any kind of symptom of bad assets. That is, for example, whenever a particular asset or the loan given by the bank to the industry or to the person, and then the bank able to, after sometimes banks identified that that particular asset is showing some signs of becoming bad assets, that is they are going to turn into non-performing asset after within 90 days, means these special accounts could be called as special mention accounts. The the special mention accounts by itself are classified into different types. That is special mention account non-financial, special mention account 0, special mention account 1, and special mention account 2. The classification of special mention account was introduced by RBI in 2014 to identify those accounts that has potential to become NPA. This account it could able to it will be helpful for the bank to identify those credits or assets which could turn to which shows signs that particular asset will be converted into non-performing asset before the 90 days of the deadline of before the 90 days of deadline, after which the particular asset could be turned as on a non-performing asset. So what does special mention account 0 means? Whenever a bank identifies that a particular assets return, for example, return in the form of principal or interest payment is due for 30 days means it will be called a special mention account 0. Whenever the return from the asset, that is again interest or principal amount is overdue for 31 to 32 days, 60 days is called special mention account, and whenever the return is overdue for 60 to 90 days is called special mention 2 accounts. What does special mention account non-financial means? Non-financial, the other than economic criteria, these are all the economic criteria based upon the return of principal and interest payment. They will be classifying a particular account as special mention account 0, 1 or 2. But other than economic criteria, there are some other non-economic criteria or non-financial criteria through which we could able to identify that particular company is going to get sick, as a result of which there may be some default in the loan will be taking place in the future. Such kind of, based upon such indicator, if a bank can able to identify that a particular asset may get defaulted in the future days means such accounts are called special mention account non-financial. So what we needed to study further so that we could also able to understand the peripheral areas of the non-performing assets is we have to know about the SARFAESI Act, the Recovery of Debt and Bankruptcy Act 1993. What are all the tribunals created under this act? What are all the provisions made under this act so that the banks could be able to quickly identify as well as recover the losses which arises due to the non-performing asset. Second is, what does Mission Indradhanush means, which was introduced by Government of India 2015 so that to completely reform the banking sector. So what does National Company Law Tribunal Act means? What are the causes as well as consequences and advantage and as well as disadvantages of the mergers of the bank? What is the differentiation between merger as well as acquisition of the bank? These two terms hold significance. They may be looking like the same concept, but there is some minute difference between them. So we have to know aware of the merger as well as the acquisition concept of the banking sector and also the difference between them. Another important news which appeared today is polls candidate criminal records past SC rulings fresh letter to AEC. That is the Association of Democratic Reforms in civil society which is responsible for which is acting to reform the democratic systems in India, has written to Election Commission of India about the political parties not following the Supreme Court's guidelines related to publishing of criminal cases against the candidate, those who are contesting the election from the respective political parties. That is, Supreme Court has given set of guidelines and also a format to publish the conduct of the criminal cases of the candidate of the particular party in the vernacular newspaper as well as national newspaper as well as the social media channel of these particular of their respective political party. Through these channels, the criminal cases against the candidate who is contesting should be posted as and it need to be informed to the people. This was the guidelines given by the Supreme Court, as a result of which Election Commission of India has mandated certain provisions and also certain criteria as well as regulations uh, through which the particular political party should publicize the criminal cases of the candidate, those who are contesting the election from the respective political parties. So what does the criminalization of politics means? Whenever a criminal centers the politics through through election and also has some influence in the policy making of India as a whole, means it is called as criminalization of politics. That is, he would be the criminals who are contesting and get selected to parliament and state legislature and decides the states or the national policy as the whole, means that such a scenario will be called as criminalization of politics. What does Representation of People's Act 1951 contains have what kind of provision does the RP Act 1951 has for criminalization of politics? In section 8 of the act, it provides for disqualification of conviction of certain offences, according to which an individual punished with a jail term of more than 2 years cannot stand in the election for 6 years after the jail term has ended. This is the statutory provision given under the RP Act 1951, and the law does not bars any person from contesting election if the criminal case is pending against him in the court, in any court of India. And also there is no constitutional provision that bars a particular person or prevents the particular person from contesting the election if he is holding any kind of criminal cases against him. So this is the fact which we should know, because most of the time UPSC is asking question related to constitution, particularly whenever they are asking anything related to polity, means they would be simply give a statement that the so and so as mentioned in the constitution, something like it. For example, there was a question related to judicial review. In that, the Supreme Court has UPSC has asked one of the statement is Constitution has defined what does judicial review means. So they will be linking the news with the Constitution. So we have to be aware that there is no constitutional provisions related to preventing the candidates from contesting election if they are having any criminal conduct. So there are some committees as well as commissions which has recommended some provisions related to prohibition of the candidates those are holding criminal conducts. Or in 1993, ORA committee report, which was formed by P.V. Narasimha Rao government. Under this committee has identified the nexus between the politicians, criminals, and bureaucrats, and they have made some recommendations to stop or prevent the criminals contesting the election, so that democracy as a whole could be preserved. In 244th report of Law Commission, they have recommended that disqualification of people against whom charges have been framed at least 1 year before the date of scrutiny of nomination for an offence punishable with the sentence of 5 years. Such kind of candidates should be disqualified. This is the provision given by the 244th report of Law Commission. So what we needed to study further? We have to know about what does anti-defection law means, and also we have to know about MP as well as MLA codes, if there is any kind of statutory backing present at the national level, and we have to be aware of what are the causes of criminalization of politics means, and what are all the other grounds, constitutional grounds on which an MP and MLA could be disqualified. Since the news contains Election Commission of India, we have to know about Election Commission of India, their structure, function, and their responsibility in upholding the democratic values of the country. Then we have to know about civil society in India and their role in governance, and the role in governance as well as development of a country as a whole. So these are all the things which we should know. Another important thing is we have to know about politicization of criminals. What does we have seen about criminalization of politics. We have to know about what does politicization of criminals means. So another important news which appeared today is foreign portfolio investment pumps over rupees 1 lakh crore into equities in April, June, takes markets to a new peak. From the headlines itself, you could able to I come to know that rupees 1 lakh crore has been pumped into equity sector, domestic equity market through foreign portfolio investment means. The reason what they have mentioned in the news is because of the good corporate sector earnings as well as good macroeconomic fundamental reserves and narrowing of gap in the forex reserves, rupee exchange rate, and the fourth quarter the fourth quarter of 2022-2023 GDP has seen some improvement. So these are all the positive signs which triggered or acted as catalyst for the investors to invest in domestic or foreign portfolio investor to invest in domestic equity markets. So what does foreign portfolio investment mean? It is an investment through stock exchange. Stock exchange are called secondary markets. Such kind of investment is called portfolio investment. It refers to investment in various financial instruments like shares, debentures, which are issued through stock exchange. There are three types of foreign portfolio investment. First is foreign institutional investment. Whenever the portfolio investment are made by foreign institutions like their mutual funds, insurance companies, pension funds, etc. in shares and debentures in the stock exchange in India means such investors are called as foreign institutional investment because they are investing through the institution present in the foreign countries. Second is depository receipts. Companies of a particular country can go to foreign countries and list their shares in that foreign country stock market. Such concept is called depository receipt. Whenever such company, particularly for company present in India, goes to US and list the domestic company shares or debentures or equity in the that particular foreign American country, stock exchanges means the receipt which is given by the uh, Indian company custodian bank is called as American depository receipt. The investment made in this receipt will also be considered as foreign portfolio investment. Another third thing is offshore funds. These are the money raised by from offshore destination, particularly the tax haven countries or the country though which doesn't have any kind of taxes or lower taxes by the mutual funds and other investment fund which is present in India is also will also comes under foreign portfolio investment only. So what we needed to study further so that we could able to have a good idea about the peripheral areas also, so that we could able to see through the holistic and view of the news. So whenever there is the news related to foreign portfolio means these are all the things which we should know, and also about foreign direct investment, and also about current account balance, capital account balance, and what does balance of payment means, and forex reserve of India, and also we have to know about money market as well as capital market in India. 1 minute. And what are submarket means? Apart from knowing about money market and capital market, we also should know about what does sub market means. The under sub market, uh, the call money market, bill market, certificate of deposits, commercial papers, these are all the subtypes of sub market. So we have to know about each one of them. So what are all the instruments of money market, capital market, and sub market? What are all the means through which the money market, capital market, or sub market is available to the common people? What are all the institutions, financial institutions, and other non-financial institutions like banks, NBFCs, scheduled commercial bank, private sector bank, foreign banks? So these are and public sector banks. These are all the things which we have should be know about. Scarcity in lithium is pushing car makers into business, into mining business. So from this news itself we could able to know that because of scarcity of lithium resource, automakers are competing with other competitors to get new mining industries, to make a deal with the new mining industries. In some cases the automakers are competing to have some direct access to the small mines, as a result of which they are these small mines to get the lithium resource, lithium ores, as a result of which these companies are venturing into the new mining business, so that they could have some easy access or uninterrupted access of lithium, which is very useful for making electric vehicle, which the world is now moving towards. As a result of which they are now getting exposed to the risk of mining in mostly we all know that most of the natural resource which is required for the world is present in South American countries as well as African countries. But most of these South American as well as African countries have been politically unstable countries, and they have very weak environment protection policy. As when these companies are venture and may have a deal with and those resource rich country, and if they are having some direct access to small mines, means they are easily exposed to the risk of the mining, as well as they are exposed to the political nature of those country, and also their activity might also trigger some environmental disaster because of the weak environment protection policy that is present in the country, particularly African as well as South American country. So what does lithium ion battery mean? A lithium ion battery is a type of rechargeable battery. As we all know, lithium ion battery uses aqueous electrolyte solution where the ions transfer to and fro between the anodes. The negative electrodes generally made of anodes are called negative electrodes, cathodes are called positive electrodes. And the negative electrodes are usually made of graphites, and positive electrodes are usually made of lithium, which triggers the recharges as well as discharges of electron, that to and fro movement of the electron, as a result of which electricity is produced. So lithium reserves. Countries like Argentina, Chile, USA, Bolivia has the largest lithium reserve in the world. Right now, before 2 months, that is during March, during that time, India has found 5.9 million tons of lithium reserve in Raisi district of Jammu and Kashmir. This has been found by Geological Survey of India. If this lithium reserve is fully exploited or fully, if India could be able to extract this resource, means this could be India could become the 7th largest deposit of the rare element in the world, which this 5 million tons of lithium reserve accounts for 5.7% of the reserve, that is in the 5.7% of the lithium reserve that is present in the whole world. And since most of the as we have seen, South American countries and also most of the African countries, Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo and the surrounding countries also holds some good amount of lithium. And these Chile, Argentina and Bolivia are the South American countries. They are all called as Lithium Triangle of the world, which could be the potential prelims question. Lithium Triangle of the world, because these countries are present, are border countries which are present side by side at the South American map. So we know about electric vehicle policy of India. What are the schemes that government of India implements to promote electric vehicle in India? What are the other rare earth elements that is identified in India, and also what are all the rare earth elements that is useful for manufacturing electric vehicle? For example, cobalt, then for example cobalt அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு எலிமெண்ட்லாம் வேர்ல்டு ஃபுல்லா அந்த மாதிரி எலிமெண்ட்டை பற்றி நம்ம தெரிஞ்சு வச்சிருக்கணும். Same as the lithium which we have seen now. So these are all the important news that which appeared in today's Indian Express newspaper. We will look into the previous year prelims question which the UPSC has asked in relation to the news which appeared today. So this is the news UPSC prelims question which was appeared in 2023. So about 3/4 of the world's cobalt, a metal required for manufacturing of battery, as we have seen in the previous slides, a metal required for manufacturing of batteries of electric motor vehicle is produced by Democratic Republic of Congo. As I said, apart from lithium, there are certain rare earth elements like cobalt, which is used for manufacturing of electric vehicles. We should also be aware of the reserves as well as their usage in the electric vehicle, so on and so forth. Second prelims question is, in 2011, which one of the following can aid in furthering the government objective of inclusive growth? Promoting self-help group, yes. Promoting self-help group will lead to growth and development of poor and as well as marginalized section of the society. Promoting MSME. MSMEs are the informal sectors of Indian economy. Their running is considered as the backbone for the running of Indian economy as the whole. And because MSMEs, the family, those who are dependent on MSME sectors are also what to say, are very vulnerable to the effect of, if anything untoward effect happens in the economy, means this sector will be affected. So protecting this sector will enable the protecting the backbone of the Indian economy as the whole, and also it will also lead to protection of 45% of the export which is arised from MSME sectors. And third is implementing the Right to Education Act. As we all know, education is one of the important thing needed for the human development as the whole. So giving education to people is very important for the inclusive growth of the economy as well as the country as a whole. So all three statements are correct. So UPSC mains question which was asked in 2022 related to the Representation of People Act 1951, which we have seen in the previous slide. Discuss the procedure to decide the dispute arising out of the elections of member of the parliament or state legislature under the Representation of People's Act 1951. What are the grounds on which the election of any returned candidate may be declared void? What remedy is available to the aggrieved party against their decision? Refer to the case laws, which is recent case laws. So I want those students, those who are watching the current affairs session on online, please do write the answer point for this question, which we are seeing now in the board, in the comment section, so that we could able to have we can able to learn from each other, as a result of which there could be enriching of stock points could take place, so we as a student could grow together. So these are all the news which appeared, most important news which appeared in today's newspaper, and also the previous year current affairs question paper in relation to the news that appeared today. So thank you for all students, those who are watching watching the session regularly in the online. Please do comment, subscribe, so that you could able to receive daily notification related to the current affair topics of Ganesh IAS Academy, a current affair session of the Ganesh IAS Academy, and also any other session which the Ganesh IAS Academy posts in the YouTube channel. Thank you.